Relax, sit back as we fill your mind with spooky true crime stories of the deranged, unhinged, and absolute pure evil murders that will blow your mind. Some places we will visit to show you around and educate you on the history. Other times we will bring you to the paranormal because the dead never lie silent for too long.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us, but we're gonna get fucking killed.
Hello?
Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness. I have a special guest with me today. Wow, she's already laughing. I should have muted her mic. Shannon is still on vacation. As you know, we came back from Boston. And then she left a couple days later for Vegas, where she's at now. And then she's going to be taking another trip to England and to Germany. So I might have this person sitting in for for a little while. But we'll see. Shannon and I are trying not to Zoom because the audio quality is not the greatest. So, so this person is... Go ahead, you can talk. Let's see if they know who you are. Hello, mystery person.
Gonna say a hot mess. Or it's gonna be a hot mess.
This is her first time doing a podcast. So, well, actually, no, she's done some of our Patreon bonus episodes, but this is her first time doing an actual episode. So she's nervous. I said, all you have to do is read. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So, without further ado, here is my daughter, Jazmyn.
Hello.
So yeah, I asked Jazmyn to come and do this because Shannon and I are really trying not to do Zoom if we don't have to, because the audio quality is really, really shitty. And so I just asked Jazmyn literally at the last second. I just said, hey, do you work tonight? You want to come over and record an episode? She's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but okay.
I was hoping it was a Patreon one, so I didn't have to
No, I did that with Dan last night. So
be responsible for information.
No, and you just have to read information. It's not a big deal. How are you? Are you doing good?
I'm great. I started Love Island.
Did you?
I did. So I started the first episode.
Oh, wait, you told me that you did.
Yes.
How far are you?
Oh, maybe like 8 episodes in. The first episode, I was like, this is dumb. Like, I'm not into it. And then I
Now you're sucked in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're long.
They are.
They're really long.
I know, but you got a lot to go. You have almost 30 to go.
I know. And you
Yeah.
said the reunion is next week?
August 19th. No, you have a little while.
Oh, I thought you said the 9th. Okay.
No, the 19th.
Okay, I might be able to do that.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I'm addicted to Love Island. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys watch it, but it is out of this world. And I normally don't get sucked into shit like that, but I don't know. There was just something about this that...
I like it though, because I heard that they don't have like actual cameramen. They're hidden cameras. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you just have a camera in your face.
Well, and the thing that I liked about it was it is in real time.
Yeah.
So they are filming in Fiji. When they came off the island and they came back to the United States, like it's already aired.
Sense.
It's already aired. So it's not
so
something
the people that were coming on were watching what was happening before they got there.
No.
Oh,
No.
Okay.
No, but basically all the people that were there that were on the show had no idea what was going on in the real world. They were just they had their phones taken from them. They were on this island,
fake
whatever.
phones, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that were just there for them.
Yeah.
And so they came back and had no idea that this whole series is like popping off, and they tried to go to Universal Studios and people are like chasing them down for pictures, and they're like, how the hell do you know my name?
Oh,
like,
how funny.
Yeah. So
because this is the first season that USA is like the popular one.
Well, yeah, I think they have like an Australia one, a UK.
I know the UK one was popular for a while.
I've never watched any of them. This is like season 6 or something like that. But yeah, so
I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I even got Mark sucked in.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I'm telling you.
How are you?
I'm good. Because I'm on vacation. I've just been doing whatever I want to do.
How's the garden?
Oh, the garden's good. Except for one plant.
Not to name names.
Yeah. Yeah. So my dog it's kind of turned into like our garden together, me and Blue. When I garden and I put new plants out there, he likes to go out and lay with me, or not with me. I don't lay down while I garden, but he likes to lay out there while I garden. And so I let him, he started like maybe last week or the week before, he started where he likes to walk through the garden. And so my mom was like, don't let him do that. And I was like, no, it's his garden. If he wants to walk through it, he can walk through it. Well, then he started peeing on the flowers. So now one of my plants is dead. So we're just going to get a new plant and we're going to put something else there. I guess maybe that was his way of telling me he didn't want that one there.
I don't like it.
He wants something else. So we're going to, pick something else out and see if he likes that. And but other than that, it's doing great. My mom kept them alive while I was in Boston. So Grandma did good. She was very worried. She was very nervous that she was going to kill my garden while I was gone. I said, it's only a week. Like, you see what I do? I literally water them once or twice a day, depending on how hot they are. That's it.
A week's a long time.
I know, but it's not hard. Like, I literally go out there and water for like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, like literally water for like 2 minutes. Sometimes, I'm usually not even home during the day. So it was when I got home from work, and then maybe one time around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, sprinkle some more water, and that's it. That's all I do.
I couldn't keep the
I didn't think I could
succulent
either.
alive that you gave me.
You know what? I didn't think I could do this either, but I'm doing it. So don't doubt yourself, anybody. Today we're going to talk about another place, another hospital that Shannon and I visited while we were in Massachusetts. And it is called Danvers State Hospital. It's in the city of Danvers. And this place obviously doesn't have a great history like most of them. They didn't do very good things back then. They did lobotomies. A lot of women that were going through menopause that had, mental issues, anything, they were put in these mental asylums because they thought they were crazy, whatever the case may be. But this hospital is not still there. There is just the front part of the building, and I'll put pictures up in here, but the front part of the building is the only thing still standing. Everything else has been demolished. It's apartments now. Yeah.
Imagine. Mm-hmm. Do they have to disclose that before people rent?
Well, so the buildings that were there were demolished.
Okay.
And they put built apartments
on
up.
Top of it.
So here in Channel Island, so at the school, at the college.
Yeah.
Now that was not knocked down.
It's still there.
That was converted into a school. So those buildings that those kids are in are still the original buildings from the hospital. So that's not the case here. The only original building that still sits at Danvers State Hospital is like their administration building, which is right in that you go into, I would imagine, to like rent or get information, whatever. But this building is, it's beautiful. It's like Gothic style brick building. And we'll read a little bit about the history and stuff like that. But again, not a lot of great things happen at these places. We're just going to read a little bit about the history of the hospital, but I'm really curious if anybody that's listening or watching has ever visited this place before, or any of these places. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. So
Hawthorne Hill in Danvers, Massachusetts harbors a beautiful Kirkbride building with its Gothic-style spires and red brick construction. The judge that presided over the Salem witch trials, John Hawthorne, once lived here a few hundred years ago. perhaps that dark history cursed the building that currently sits on Hathorne Hill. The facility that once housed Danvers State Hospital is now home to a residential community featuring fully renovated apartments. However, the building's dark past makes it one of the creepiest monuments to insane asylums in the world. The idea was that the facility would be self-sustaining, meaning that everything it needed was on site. The overall design, as seen from the air, looked like a bat in mid-flight. The design supposedly helped draw breezes through the entire facility. Although
This, like, if you look at the pictures, I have like overhead, like it's like a aerial view of it or whatever, and it's just a drawing, but it literally looks like a bat with its wings spread out.
Even with the apartments?
No.
Oh, okay. So
No,
the original
it's the original building.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's super cool the way that it was. So I mean, I'll put pictures up, but yeah, it was really cool the way that they did that.
Eerie.
Yeah.
Although the building looked beautiful on the outside, inside was a different matter. Danvers State Hospital was originally called the State Lunatic Asylum at Danvers. It was part of the countrywide concept, at least in the late 1800s, that people with psychological problems needed to be cured inside specially made facilities. Construction on Danvers State Hospital started in 1874, and the first patients moved in sometime in 1878. At its peak, the facility had 40 buildings and maxed out at 450 patients. The goal of the facility was to completely cure patients of their illnesses. Danvers was a success at first. By 1900, Danvers State Hospital employed 125 people and had treated more than 9,500 patients since opening. Its good reputation proved to be Danvers' undoing. Over the next 20 years, the population of the hospital swelled to more than 2,000 patients, despite its official capacity of 450. Administrators begged the state for money to build more rooms and hire more staff, to no avail. Patients walked through hallways naked. They lived in their own filth from a lack of basic hygiene. People weren't being cured. Their symptoms were getting worse.
So, I mean, this is obviously something that you see in the majority of these hospitals back at that during, you know, and most of these were built in the late 1800s and closed in it was like 100-year span, like late 1880s to late 1980s. I think this one closed in 92 or something like that. But some of them were open up until like the late 90s. Yeah. And
not that long ago.
And it's really not when you think about it. But they, you know, they were doing lobotomies. They did horrible things to people. They were obviously super overcrowded, way understaffed. And they just kept sending people there. And they were called poor farms because they were, you know, they housed a lot of people who didn't have a huge income. And they were self-sustaining. So they had cattle, they had animals there. They worked. That's what they did. They worked on the farm as their job. And it was, it's just been something that's really fascinated me for a very long time. And
oh, I know.
Poor Jazmyn. She's actually been drug along. There's one here that's very, very close to my house.
To home.
And so she's been drugged there
a few times. More than once.
With me. And that one is not open to the public. You can't just walk into that one. It's a matter of, you know, hiding from the cops and hiding from security and
climbing fences.
And it's a mission to get into it. But the thing that I found is that here in California, and I have hundreds and hundreds of pictures of this place here by my house, but it's just people light buildings on fire. Yeah. It's full of graffiti. Yeah. It's disgusting. It's a mess in there. Yeah. These other places in these other states are so well preserved and everybody just respects everything. It's nuts how in California we don't respect anything
it's so
here.
Different, yeah.
It's just a different I don't know.
It's a whole different monster.
Yeah, it really is. So shock therapy and straitjackets became the norm. The thinking was that jolts of electricity could either alter a patient's brain or make the patient afraid of shock therapy and scare them into submission. When they misbehaved, they were put in straitjackets and forgotten. Could you even imagine?
No.
It's just awful. It's so terrible that people were put through this. And, you know, you wonder why they say these places are haunted and
Well, yeah.
these spirits, you know, haunt these.
Are not happy. They're not.
My God, no. Who would be happy living like this?
Scare them into submission? Ugh.
It's terrible. So when shock therapy failed, the lobotomy started. In 1939, the medical community was looking for a permanent fix to the crisis facing mental health facilities. The population of the hospital swelled to 2,360. A total of 278 patients died at the hospital that year. That's an insanely large amount. Medical science saw lobotomies as a cure for anyone's insanity and as a way to stop the deaths. So that was their cure for all of this. So neurology experts often called Danvers State Hospital the birthplace of the prefrontal lobotomy because they went in through the front of your head, the frontal lobe, I believe. So the moniker came from its widespread use, but also from the procedure's refinement at the hospital. Visitors to Danvers State Hospital in the early 1940s reported lobotomy patients wandering aimlessly through the halls of the hospital. Can you imagine? Like, I can picture that, like, in my head, where they're just, like...
I'm thinking like The Walking Dead.
Exactly.
Like, just an apocalypse, but just smaller scale.
They're just walking aimlessly through the halls, probably drooling and slobbering on themselves. And that's probably why, they were so filthy, is because they probably couldn't bathe themselves. And with them being understaffed, I'm sure
there's only so much you can do.
So the nurses were probably, you know, doing as much as they could at that time. But you can, you know, one person can only do so much.
Yeah.
So at least the patients didn't complain because many of them just stared blankly at the walls. Patients walked around in a drugged, hellish daze. No one would let them leave and held them against their will. The lack of funding continued. Buildings fell into despair, which made conditions worse. Finally, the state intervened. Portions of Danvers State Hospital were shut down in 1969. Most of it closed in 1985 before a permanent shutdown in 1992, after which the site became a popular destination for thrill-seeking kids looking for a scare. Which I guess you, right? I mean, I like to call them urban explorers.
Oh, is that your new term?
No, I mean, but I think too, like a lot of kids probably went there. You know, like kids in middle school, probably like teenagers and stuff like that like to do stuff like, I mean, urban exploration is different. You know, people that like to look at history and take pictures and stuff like that versus a teenager going in there just to try to scare the shit out of their friends.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm sure they were probably destroying a lot of it because, of course, you know, 13, 14 years old, they're not going to respect much.
Anything.
So,
Yeah.
So in 2005, a development company bought the rundown property and tore down a large portion of the buildings. That would just gut me. It just kills me when they do that. I know it's history, and I know it's not good history, but it's history.
Yeah, but...
And there's so many people... Well, I'm just assuming there's so many people. I don't know.
That agree with you.
Maybe there's not a lot of people, but I feel like... I mean, especially when you go to, like, Massachusetts, everything is historical. Like, everything is original.
I could see it from a visitor perspective as why you would want to keep it, but I could also see being your home why someone would feel like, ugh, almost like...
Well, and people who had family there, I'm sure probably don't have good feelings.
Bad memories, bad feelings, yeah. And just
probably
like,
don't want that. I'm sure if I had a family member that was at, you know, Rancho Los Amigos.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's so much history in those places, and I think that they should be just
Preserved.
Yeah, because I don't know. I also feel like everything's being torn down and putting up condos right now. So I'm just.
I mean, I know that's the case in LA, but I mean, I don't know if that's the case. Well, yeah, that is the case everywhere, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, look
there's
at
just
Texas and
so
Arizona.
many. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's out of control. The renovations turned the once scary lunatic asylum into Avalon Danvers apartments, and that's what they are now. Construction faced delays in 2007 when a mysterious fire broke out and burned a majority of the new construction and some trailers. That's kind of creepy. The Hell House on the Hill was one of the several nicknames given to the hospital. It looks brand new today. However, its reputation remains. Horror novelist H.P. Lovecraft used Danvers as the inspiration for his Arkham Sanitarium. If the name Arkham sounds familiar, DC Comics latched onto the name and created Arkham Asylum as the backdrop for where Batman's ultra-psychotic villains come from. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. So it's Johnny used to read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft books. And yeah, so there is one book in particular that I cannot remember the name, but it was, he, was inspired by this particular asylum for his book.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, the whole Batman thing. So
Imagine being so excited. Like, Mom, guess what? I'm moving out. Where? To the Hell House on the Hill?
on the hill, yeah,
I know you would be excited.
I would.
But like, what?
I would be. I'd be real excited. And if you moved there, I mean,
I wonder if they had issues at first with people moving into those condos or apartments. Because I'm sure people that are local there know the history of that area.
Of course. And they're beautiful.
Because that would deter me, no matter how beautiful an apartment is.
But it's not the original buildings.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because the only remnants of the horrific practices that went on in Danvers State Hospital is the cemetery that lies across from the main building. Some headstones have numbers on them as opposed to names. Even in death, administrators at Danvers State Hospital did not dignify their patients. So the crazy thing about this hospital, or this cemetery, I should say, is we knew that there was a cemetery there, and it's only people who basically lived there at the hospital were buried there, and the majority of them didn't have families. They were probably dropped off, whatever. But I had watched several videos, read several things on this, and we could not find this cemetery to save our lives. We went live on Instagram, and we had been pointed in a direction that led us not to the cemetery. And we were, I don't know, we probably walked around for an hour. And then finally, and it's crazy because there were people working out there. Nobody knew about the cemetery.
That's what is so crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. We only met one lady that we ran into, because we actually went into the main lobby and we looked around, and there was a lady who was walking out. I believe she was like a social worker. I think that it houses, I feel like it's more of like a retirement home kind of thing.
The apartments that are now
yeah.
there? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there was a social worker, and she was coming out. She's like, "Oh, I've only worked here for a few months, but I know that there's a cemetery around here." And so we asked her where, and she was like, "Oh, it's in the back. You go down the back. There's this big, huge set of stairs that you go down, and it leads you into this thing." Well, we found the stairs, and but we could not find a cemetery. So we drove around, and we probably asked, I don't know how many people. No, nobody ever was like, "Cemetery? What are you talking about? There's no cemetery." So in the front, where this main building is, there is if you walk across the parking lot, there is a big, like a tribute to, like a memorial to the hospital and to the patients. And it has all the names. It actually has like the blueprints of what the hospital looked like. And it, we took pictures, and so it's beautiful. So right in front of that, now mind you, it's this building where it's, the administration building, and then it's just apartments and it's homes, and it's like, right across, you just go down this little dirt path,
And there it is.
and it opens up into this freaking cemetery. It's wild. And a lot of the, I was just telling Dan last night because we were talking about it, and there was one, and again, like a lot of them, well, the majority of them are from the 1800s, but a lot of them, it's just a number. And I feel like a lot of them didn't have, they didn't have family. So there's like a big, a memorial out there. Mm-hmm. And it's right as you walk into the cemetery, and it's like a bench, and it says, "You remain always in our thoughts and our prayers, forever in our hearts, in loving memory of Marie Rose Balter." And then in quotation marks, it says, "Nobody's child." 1930 to 1999, a resident of the Danvers State Hospital from 1948 to 1968, a woman of strong faith who overcame many adversities during her life and helped others do the same. Like, nobody's child. Like, that's wild. And there's like a whole, it's like a bench. It's beautiful that I'll put pictures up. But the rest of them are just these little concrete little, like from the 1800s. Like that's what they were. They were nothing special, and they just had their name if they're lucky, and their date, the dates that they were born and passed, and that was it.
Crazy.
So yeah, it was that place is, it's beautiful. The architecture out there is beautiful everywhere, but that place in particular, just that Gothic style, and it doesn't really go like with the apartment homes. It's just kind of sits there. But yeah, you can see it like up on the hill. It's beautiful. It really, really is. So yeah, if anybody has visited there or any of these places, it's kind of like a goal of mine to visit as many as I can. There's just not a lot standing still. Mm-mm. A lot of them have been torn down or going to be torn down to build things, obviously. But I would love to visit as many as I can.
Was this the only one in Massachusetts?
Oh, no.
Okay.
We went to another one, Medfield, that if you watch your mom's podcast from last week,
she got caught.
You would know.
She got caught. Let me tell you, I probably won't even watch this episode. It's so, your voice sounds the same, but to watch you and Shannon is like, I don't know, it's weird.
Why?
I don't know. Like Celine, shout out to Celine. She doesn't know you as her mom. Like, yeah, she knows you, but that's not her mom. So I'm sure it's not weird for her to watch you on a video. But I don't know what it is. Watching you on a video is weird. It's really weird.
Wow.
I watched one of your guys' episodes, and I was like, I don't know. And then I called her immediately after.
See, this is the support that I get. But I get way more support from her than I do my son, because my son doesn't watch or listen at all and has no desire to and never will. So, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Thanks, Trey. Yeah, so if anybody, like I said, has visited any places or know of any places, I would love to research some. I know that there was tons of them across the United States back in the 1800s. But if anybody knows of any cool places like that, please leave it in the comments. I would love to look into either visiting them or just reading about them, looking up old pictures, books, whatever the case may be. I would love to. So
I just can't imagine, like, the architecture.
It's crazy, right?
But to put something like an insane asylum.
What, in something that looks like that?
Like that.
Well, yeah. What do you? That's how all the buildings are out
I
there.
guess that's true.
There's like McDonald's and CVS's in those places.
That's what you were saying.
It is, and that's the
I'm
thing.
just like, what a waste of such amazing architecture to put something so.
That's what I'm saying.
Horrible
like,
in.
Oh, like putting a hospital in the. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what would you want it to look like?
I don't know.
Just not something so
Not
beautiful.
Yeah, like. Not something that I would want to tear down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's shameful that these things are torn down. Just
like
for that.
Like new builds now, like nothing looks like this. They're all
by the way, my daughter is a civil engineer, by the way. So that's why she's probably so into this architecture. I'm like, what is she so hung up on this shit for? Well, that's why, because she's a civil engineer. So,
but like you see, like the cookie cutter homes that they're making everywhere, where it's just copy and paste. They all look the same, and don't get me wrong, they're beautiful, but they're not this.
Mm-hmm.
So then, just to put something, sorry, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. So yeah, I didn't even think of that until right now. That that you would.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, we're gonna go because my dog's
getting a little antsy over here.
Yeah, he needs his time with his auntie. So. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another week. I want to welcome. And we have a new Patreon, Julie Kem. So welcome, Julie.
Hello.
Welcome, Julie. She's $20 tier. She just signed up. So thank you for that. We've had a couple people reach out for our link for our merch. So I will put that up here too. It's always in the description box though in all of our videos, but I will put it right here on the screen. And so thank you for another week. You'll probably see more of Jazmyn. I don't know. We'll see. But have a great week, and we will see you next week sometime. I'm not sure if they will be getting out every Thursday or Friday, or it'll depend on Jazmyn's schedule, but we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.